Welcome to the June edition of the Missouri School Boards Association's Board Report. We begin with a look back at the legislative session that wrapped up last month. Education issues dominated headlines and talking points throughout this year's session. Despite some proposed legislation that could have been detrimental to school boards and public schools, there were some significant positives to come out of the session. MSBA's Director of Governmental Relations, Brant Shields, tells us several bills aimed at public schools did not cross the finish line this year.
Yeah, some of the takeaways, overall public education had a fairly good legislative session. There was not a lot of bills that were necessarily damaging to public education that made it across the finish line. However, there were a lot of attempts, a lot of examples of trying to expand school voucher programs, expand charter schools, and those types of things. They got a lot of attention, but they didn't quite make it across the finish line. So we ended up in a pretty good position at the end of this year. Something that really did work out great for public education this session was the budget. And a lot of kudos go to the Senate Appropriations Chair, Senator Lincoln Huff from Springfield. We fully funded the foundation formula again. Transportation is fully funded again. The minimum teacher pay at $38,000 is going to be fully funded by the state this year. It's no longer going to be the 70-30 match. And then, of course, the $50 million in school safety grants that were a Governor Parson priority, all those things made into the budget. It was a really great year for appropriations for public education.
Shields says that although the session is over, it's still important for school board members and administrators to stay in touch with legislators, and that many of the issues that were discussed in this session will return during the next legislative session.
I don't think that these issues are going away. I think that these are part of the overall conversations happening around public education these days and about whether or not public education should remain a public good or a private good. And I think that is a larger philosophical discussion that's happening across legislators across the country, but especially happening here in Missouri. Now that legislators are back home, they're away from Jefferson City, this is a time where they begin really re-engaging with their communities. And this is where you as community leaders need to step up, invite them to your schools, especially when you come back to school in the fall. But talk to your legislators, talk to them about session, talk about the things that happened during the session and how those would impact public education for your district and in their community.
Shields says the advocacy work of school board members paid significant dividends during this year's legislative session, and that your advocacy efforts did not go unnoticed in the Capitol this year. MSBA's positions on state and federal education issues are determined by the Delegate Assembly that will be meeting this coming November. If your school board has a position statement on an issue you would like to submit to the Advocacy Committee for consideration, you can do so this summer. The Advocacy Committee reviews those proposals and makes recommendations to the Delegate Assembly that determines MSBA's positions on issues. So make your plans now to attend the 2023 MSBA Annual Conference in cooperation with the Missouri Association of School Administrators and the Missouri Association of School Business Officials, to be held November 2nd through the 4th in Kansas City. The event will once again feature some outstanding general session speakers, along with a wide variety of concurrent sessions, many presented by school leaders from districts throughout the state. Registration information for the conference will be posted on the MSBA website soon. Past and present members of local school boards can be nominated for the 2023 Paul Morris Community Service Award. This award is for those who have shown an outstanding commitment to local community service. Nominations will be accepted through July 1st, and the award will be presented at the MSBA Annual Conference. On to another important topic. Annual Medicaid eligibility reviews that were paused during the COVID-19 pandemic have been renewed as of April 1st of this year. Over 4 million Medicaid participants will be impacted by this renewal, and many have never been through the process. Since schools have direct contact with families, they can play a critical role in making sure their families are aware of the actions required to maintain continued Medicaid eligibility. Declining eligibility could also negatively impact school-based Medicaid revenues, as reimbursements for both direct services cost settlement and SDAC are directly tied to eligibility rates within each district. Check the Missouri Department of Social Services website for more information and helpful materials that can assist in communicating this important information. And finally, congratulations to Chantal Agbayfun of Republic High School. Chantal is the statewide Belcher Scholarship winner selected by the Future Builders Board of Directors. The Belcher Scholarships are funded through the MSBA Future Builders Foundation, and the foundation has awarded hundreds of thousands of dollars in scholarships to over 600 students throughout the years. Congratulations to all of this year's regional winners. That's it for this month. Thanks for allowing us to have some time at your board meeting, and we'll see you in July for the next MSBA Board Report.